What's up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome back to another episode of GSG Nation, where we involve you directly, the Spurs fan. And for you new listeners out there, what I mean by that is that I attend the Spurs games as much as I can. I am a half season ticket holder, and I actually interview the Spurs fans at the games and get their voice out there for you to enjoy, to hear what the other Spurs fans are saying in the city of San Antonio. So we are here to bring you fan entertainment. This is all for the fan experience. And that's what we're about here on the show. So we do have another fan interview today from the Milwaukee Bucks game. We will be bringing that to you shortly. And I got to say, so far, it's been quite a roller coaster weekend for us. It's February 2nd. We are getting closer to the trade deadline. And man, so much is happening. And this weekend, so much happened for us Spurs fans, emotions up and down. What an incredible win we had against the Milwaukee Bucks. That was really fun to enjoy. And us being in attendance for that it was just an exciting time. And all the fans were excited. So we'll be talking about that game shortly here. We'll also be recapping the Heat game. And let's just talk about January. I feel like we have the January woes for the team, and there are definitely fixes that are needed on this team. So we'll be talking about that, and then of course we're going to get into the De'Aaron Fox trade rumors and just giving you my opinion, thoughts in regards to that rumor there. So let's get right into it, to the Bucks game. We were in attendance for that. Spurs winning 144, Milwaukee Bucks 118, and that was a huge, huge win for us. And you could tell, when Milwaukee was stepping on the court, you kind of tell like, okay, they're coming in very confident, maybe a little too confident, and just thinking, after the last blowout that they gave us, probably just thinking they're going to hand us another blowout and just dominate us early. And that wasn't the case. We saw a lot of good things happen from the Spurs that game. Unfortunately, those are rare good things that we haven't witnessed too often this season. They are not consistent positives that were happening, but this season we're not going to overhype the wins, but we're definitely going to enjoy the wins when they come around, because we're trying to get back to over 22 wins. We're trying to make the play in this year, hopefully the playoffs, but those hopes are starting to dwindle a little bit more. But the positives that we did see, you know, finally we were hitting shots. Everybody was into the game. All the guys played a full 48-minute game. It was a great team effort. We had great team defense. We showed heart, we showed fight, pride. Those were the positives that we saw in that Milwaukee Bucks win. Again, the way we shot the ball, we were 49% from the field, 48% from the three, and 80% from the free throw line. Though the 3-point and free throw percentage, those are rare numbers that we haven't seen too often. And of course, like most teams, if we're shooting at that high percentage, we're gonna most likely come out with the win, and probably a big win. 48%. We shot 50 3-pointers in that win. So yeah, if you can get the ball to fall 48% of the time out of 50 shots, you're most likely going to come out with the W, and a big one. And that's what happened. But again, that's not a consistent factor for the Spurs this season. And it wasn't last season, and that's unfortunate. And even with this win, we're still seeing the same problems from our prior losses this year. There's lack of consistency, and it just it's unfortunate. But I gotta say, as a fan, again, it's good to enjoy wins, when they come around. Again, yeah, like, we're not gonna overhype it, but I just gotta say, we played a really, really good game. That was really good basketball that we played against the Bucks, and I just wish we could continue to emulate that and make that a consistent thing. But uh, it was, man, we saw a lot of highlights from the team, a lot of Victor Wembanyama highlights. He ended the game with 30 points, 14 rebounds, and he had 4 blocks, and I think 3 of those blocks were on Giannis. And golly, that those type of plays, that's what keeps the crowd into the game. We were loud, we were cheering really loud that whole game. And there was that one point when Giannis and Chris Paul got into the little scuffle there. I never thought that I would boo Giannis, but we were all booing Giannis after that scuffle. I at first, I was just I said that Chris Paul is not a dirty player, so I'm like, Giannis, why are you getting all mad? But I was on a Spurs space after the game, and after I made that comment, somebody did come on right after me, and they did point out Chris Paul's dirty history in the past, and yeah, absolutely right. He he has had a little bit of a history in the past with a couple of dirty plays, and that's something that I just at the time just completely forgot about because I just seeing him in a Spurs jersey, I kind of just wiped kind of those bad memories out of the way, and we're not remembered as a dirty team too often. Going back to that Steve Nash play, but it, for that reason, I thought, yeah, I was just like Giannis. It's we're the Spurs. Chris Paul hasn't played dirty all season. I know he gets into it with a couple of guys on the opposing team, but it's not anything crazy. So I don't know. I just thought Giannis might have been overreacting, and we're obviously winning the game by a large margin. We're not frustrated, so we're not going to throw a frustrated foul out there, and we're definitely not going to try to hurt another player. So at that point, the whole arena was just booing Giannis. And again, I never ever thought I would boo Giannis because I like him, and I think that the Milwaukee Bucks are a liked team around San Antonio because being a similar small market team, we can relate to each other. And I felt like we were when the Bucks won a championship, we were happy to see another small market team have success. Same thing with the Denver Nuggets. But yeah, on Friday night, I absolutely had to throw out the booze there, man, and we were just all getting loud. So, but it was entertaining, and at least it united the Spurs fans, which is what anything to unite as fans. I'm all for that. But the way we were playing in that win against the Milwaukee Bucks, I we thought we were going to see more of that this season, and obviously playing like this, we don't even need to make 48% from the 3 to win some of these games. We've lost a lot of close games that we just lost towards the end in crunch time that we shot way less than 48% from the 3. So shooting 48% from the 3 is not something that you need to consistently do because that's incredible. It's a very very high percentage, and that's not going to be consistent for any team. But we thought we were going to see better shooting this season, and that just hasn't been the case. And it was good to see, Wimby, Harrison Barnes, Stephon Castle having really good games, being aggressive early for us in the starting unit, and then Keldon Johnson coming off the bench, providing 24 points for us for that night, 10 of 15 from the field, 4 or 5 from the 3-point line. We just thought we were going to see more of that. We actually thought we were going to see Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson, be more consistent, carry the team a little bit more to help Victor Wembanyama. But I would say, that was a huge factor in us getting that win was just Keldon playing well, Stephon playing well, Harrison Barnes playing well. We knew Victor Wembanyama was probably going to have a big game, but when we can get other guys contributing at a big rate, yeah, we would have seen more wins this season. But again, that win was fun. What a great time. And let's see if the Spurs can have more of those, even if they're lucky games. And these are lucky numbers, 48% from 3, and us being lucky enough to shoot 80% from the free throw line, because I feel like that's been a team struggle. Let's see if we can get more lucky games. And hopefully we can get a lot of lucky games on the rodeo road trip. And hopefully they're not lucky. Hopefully they find consistency. So let's see what the team can do for this rodeo road trip. We're going to send nothing but good vibes, even though we know January was not hot and it's been tough to be a Spurs fan in January. It's been really tough. Looks like we only came out with 4 wins in January, and that's definitely not the trajectory we thought we were going to be heading into back in December and November, because this team definitely showed much more potential, much more promise than what they showed us in January. And those January numbers weren't really good, and it's unfortunate that you only come out with 4 wins in that month, especially with a heavy road trip in February. You really needed to take care of business at home, and we lost a lot of home heartbreakers in January. But let's go ahead. Let's get into this fan interview from the Milwaukee game. Robert, take it away.
What up, Spurs fans? We are here for the Milwaukee Bucks game. We're in section 125, and I am with Robert. Robert, how you feeling about tonight's game, brother?
Pretty good. I want to see this battle between Giannis and Wemby, so let's see how it goes.
Yeah, how did you feel about, last time we played the Bucks? It really didn't look so hot,
No comment on that one, man.
We're kind of slumping this January, and I know earlier on in the season we saw improvement from last season. What do you think's our issue going on right now?
Experience. I mean, Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes are a good addition, but they can't play 48 minutes. So they got to show that leadership, they're doing a great job doing that. But I guess the younger guys got to click together better. And, it's only our first year with Chris Paul and Barnes, and it's only Wemby's second year. And I guess, it was only a special occasion where on Tim Duncan's second year we won a championship. Can't happen again, but, it's still building. I mean, if we get some time together with them, the whole trade thing probably affects them too a little bit. The rumors, it has to get to their head, so that might be an issue too. I mean, it would bother me personally if I was there, but we'll see.
Yeah, and speaking of those trade rumors, the Aaron Fox coming over here, maybe a multi-team deal. How are you feeling about that?
It just depends. I mean, I've seen rumors involving Keldon Johnson, involving Harrison Barnes. I know we have a lot of draft picks. I'd rather just lose the draft picks and for Darren Fox. But I mean, it's a business side that I don't know. I will understand. I won't know. But if it involves multiple players, I mean, it may not be worth it. I don't think it would be for that many players. But
so would you say that do you think that we should go after Fox?
Honestly, I'm always like, I'm the type that go with what we have. That's my type, but that's my experience. But that's my opinion. But I know there's always, trades, all that. I mean, think about our history. We never really won with a big trade. We always won with who we have and who we drafted and who we signed. It's rare. I got to look back, think about it, but I don't recall us winning a championship or being a contender off a trade. I just thought we always developed our team together, and we built a core together, and that's how we succeeded in the past.
Yeah, for sure, right?
I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, there's always research and all that. Everyone wants to prove me wrong, but that's just off the top of my head. I don't recall ever having a big trade where we won a championship. So.
Yeah, and speaking of player development, 'cause that's something that our organization has been known for, just really developing players. How would you say that's starting to fare in these past few seasons? Have you seen progress from Keldon, Vassell, maybe Sohan, Trey Jones?
For sure with Vassell. I know his injuries kind of hurt him. I'm a big fan of Keldon. I want to say he has progressed, but I think from being a starter so many years to being off the bench may affect him a little bit. But if he has that Manu mindset where he can be better off the bench, then that can help us out too. That's what I hope he can have that mindset of. But I know he was the backbone of the rebuild, the start of the rebuild with him was Keldon Johnson. And I know coming off the bench might change his mindset or might change his confidence. I hope it doesn't. But I mean, that might be a factor.
Yeah.
But Castle is going to be up and coming. I kind of wish what's his name would play more. Wesley would play a little bit more, but Wesley, yeah. I know he's a third string now. So, but I just got to hope they develop more. But the thing is, who's going to stay in the future, who we're going to keep in the future. So,
we've never known to make big trades by the trade deadline. I think the last one it wasn't even a trade. It was like LaMarcus Aldridge signing and then trading Kawhi for DeMar DeRozan. But speaking of that history, do you Are you confident that we will make a trade or that we won't make a trade this season?
I hate to say it, it probably will happen, and it's not going to be to at least to my liking. But I know a lot of the fans, especially if Keldon's involved. Like I said, we had Keldon, our longest Spurs since we drafted him before the pandemic. He stuck around, and he's got his his first big contract. It's just. I mean, it's what the organization chooses. I mean, I used to think that Lonnie was going to be our future, but that didn't happen.
Yeah.
I thought Derek White would be our future, but that didn't happen. So,
and I think a lot of Spurs fans thought the same, at the time too. You're definitely not the only one in that boat.
Yeah.
Is there anybody that you definitely, you're like, no, they're kind of an untouchable for me? Because for me, if a trade were to happen, Stephon Castle, in my opinion, for me, he's an untouchable.
Exactly. That guy's going to be a star. He is. And obviously, Wemby's untouchable, and other than that, I mean, I would say that Jeremy will probably be the next one untouchable. But I just think I feel like, I mean, people might get mad or upset about this comment, but I think Jeremy should be a little bit more consistent, a little bit more reliable. There's that one game, I don't know if you remember. It was I think it was here. It was a clutch game at the end, and Jeremy had a turnover. Then Jeremy had a passed up on a three because he didn't have the confidence.
Yes.
So Jeremy
should. That was the Bulls game.
Yeah, I think it was the Bulls game. Yeah. So Jeremy doesn't have that confidence yet to be that clutch player, and I just think that he should be there. Be ready to step up. You're a lottery pick for us. I mean, I was hoping that he could develop to be a little bit better. Yeah. But I think the Spurs organization has a lot, I guess, hope for Jeremy. But I just hope he comes along a little bit better, becomes more consistent, more reliable. But we'll see. I know they're all young. I mean, not even all of them can buy a beer yet. So
yeah, that's true, man. We barely have 21-year-olds on the team.
Yeah, so I know it's going to take time, but how patient is the organization going to be? How patient is the fans going to be? We got to see.
And coming to the games, I don't hear too many fans like complaining and stuff. But obviously online, social media, got a bunch of fans just complaining about the team situation and where we're going. Just from your perspective, if we run with this group again and maybe make like one more change in the off season, would you feel confident that the team's still moving in the right direction, or maybe need to speed it up after that?
Nah, I think they'll be okay. I mean, I'll be confident they stick around together because, like I said, it's going to take that getting used to each other, getting used to each other on the court.
Chemistry, yep.
I mean, think about it. I mean, I know there's no Tony Manu out there, but we had a big three for many years. We haven't had a big three together since I don't know when. I mean, like I said, I thought it was going to be Keldon, Lonnie, and Derek. 3 rotation guards forwards, but they split them up. If we would have had them together still, we probably wouldn't have Wemby, because we probably would have been better than we were a few years ago.
Yeah.
But, it all worked out for a reason. I mean, some way it worked out that we got Wemby, that they split everybody up. Yes. But if we can get a three right now, a quote-unquote big three, 2.0, then, yeah, obviously Wemby, Castle, and somebody else, keep them together, and then let's build around them, and let's get that dynasty again like we did back in the 90s and 2000s.
So you would say, like, your core four would be, Wemby, Sohan, Vassell, and Castle?
I would believe so. I would like that, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I know. I would like that, too. I think that these guys are young, so, yeah, they're going to need time to get that chemistry, build that experience. I think Castle's done a great job in showing us more than what we thought he was going to show us. If you were a GM and you wanted to, improve this team, what's your first move this offseason? What are you improving first?
Get myself a 10-day contract. Honestly, I would just try to get, maybe find one off-season signing that'd be a good factor, whether it's a defensive-minded player, whether it's an offensive-minded player. We have shooters. It's just they're not consistent, but we have shooters. They can come in through. Champagne comes in when he can. Barnes has that three-point range. Mahmoud has that versatility. I wish Mahmoud would play a little more too. I mean, he's like a newer version of Boris Diaw. That's my thought of him. But it is what it is. I mean, they have their way of their system, and we can't deny that system. You got to go with that system. But maybe just one more, signing, not a trade, just one more signing of a free agent this summer.
Okay.
So that's what I would hope for. But
All right.
That's what I would do if I was a GM. But
See, right? We'll see what this team
I
does.
mean, if there's an application, let me know, man.
Yeah, for sure. I guess, yeah. I appreciate you being on the show today, Robert.
Hey, no problem,
Can I
man.
get a Go Spurs go?
Hey, go Spurs, go! Let's go, man.
Thanks, Robert, for being on the show. And fans, I hope you enjoyed the insight from another fan, from San Antonio that attends the games. You guys are just getting a close inside look of a fan that lives in San Antonio and what they think of the team so far this season and what changes are needed. So let's get into that Miami game, which was on Saturday, and that was, oh my gosh, you hate to lose at the buzzer, especially when it's a game that you could have won, and honestly, I wouldn't even say should have won because Victor Wembanyama did not play that game that we lost to the Miami Heat 105-103 to Bam Adebayo's buzzer beater. Obviously the favor are not in our the odds are not in our favor when Victor Wembanyama is not playing, and that was a last minute call due to illness, which was very annoying and disheartening when we got that news as Spurs fans, because it's like, dude, we want to watch Wemby. Uh, and we coming off a big win and a big game that he had. Like, yo, let's keep it going. We could have gone for two wins in a row. I will say, the positive thing though out of last night's game is that the guy showed heart. Everybody was, or I guess the team was competitive, um, but that was probably the only positive that I could think from last night's loss. Because what did we shoot? Oh, Lord. Spurs were 41% from the field, 33% from three, and 71% from the free throw line, which those are our common numbers for the season. Those are almost around the team average there. And it's a game we lost. It was a low scoring game for both teams. The thing is that either we were playing good defense to win. We had a huge run in the third quarter, which helped keep us in it, and then we had enough to win this ball game and give us that 2 wins in a row. And it was just unfortunate that it didn't work out that way. And it's the problems that have really been standing out all January is what we saw in last night's loss. Coaching decisions, coaching lineups, our coach not challenging the foul on Castle, which caused him to get fouled out. Like, man, coach, what are we holding on to these challenges for? That's kind of what's been frustrating me this season about coaches, that we eh, we're like saving these challenges, like we're carrying over PTO, and it's like, hey, if we make the playoffs, we're gonna have all these challenges saved up, and it's like, no, that's not the case. The challenges don't carry over. It's so annoying that we don't use it. You might as well just, if you have a challenge, you might as well use it every single game, because why not? You don't need to save it for crunch time. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to. There's rarely, I don't even remember the last game where, okay, both teams save their challenge and in crunch time and 2 minutes left, it's a close game and the coach has used the challenge and it's completely changed the outcome of the game into the favor of the coach that used the challenge. Like, I don't remember a game where that has happened, and it's not a common statistic either. Those aren't common situations. So it's like, what are we holding the challenges for? Like, if we're gaining momentum and we want to keep momentum, like, throw that challenge out sometimes, because these refs have been horrendous all season, and not just for the Spurs, but like just around the league have been horrendous all season. We're not going to blame losses on the refs, but yo, they don't help anybody out but the Los Angeles Lakers. And so, and they definitely never help out the Spurs. So that, we got to use every opportunity that we have to help keep the momentum in the game, and using a challenge in a time where we're gaining momentum, that's a great opportunity to use the challenge and give us an opportunity to stay in the game and possibly win. Like, quit saving it for crunch time. That's really annoying. But again, to coach, using small ball lineups that just are not working. It's, I was surprised that we actually started Bassie in last night's game in place of Wimby. Like, I'm surprised, and I'm surprised that we played Zach Collins. What did Zach Collins get? He got, just 8 minutes, but I'm surprised at that. But you know, these small ball lineups, I don't like them. They're not working. We don't have shooters that can play small ball lineup. We can just stretch the floor out with small ball. Like, we don't have that type of roster. So it doesn't. We haven't played two bigs together all season, and it's been hurting us because these other teams, if they have multiple bigs, they're throwing bigs at us, and it's giving us a very hard time. And it's it just doesn't make sense. Some of these coaching decisions do not make sense, and I'm almost convinced that the coaching staff might be soft tanking, not the players, because again, sometimes we get blown out, and then sometimes we're like losing games. I was like, yo, we could have won that game with just, hey, two more people make one more shot, and it less than 10 points. Some of these games we're losing. So I don't think that the players are into this soft tanking, because you could tell after every loss, these players are frustrated. They're mad. It's not like last season where, okay, we lost. It's okay, guys. We're still trying to find chemistry. Well, it's just the beginning of the journey. They're smiling. It's not like last season. No, like this season, you could tell like the losses are annoying. The players are not happy with it, and they're trying to do better. But I feel like the coaching staff is really hindering this roster with the lineup decision, and yeah, just playing players out of position. Like Jeremy Sohan, man, last year throw him at the point guard. This year, now we're throwing him at the backup big spot. And it's like, yo, we're not going to get anything out of Sohan playing him in the backup big position. Like, we're not going to get anything out of Jeremy Sohan playing him in off positions. And his position is power forward. We could potentially work on maybe turning him into a small forward. And if he had good offense to become a small forward, that would actually be very, very beneficial for our roster. But until then, like, he is a power forward, and that's where we are going to see any sort of benefit, if we see any, from Jeremy Sohan in that position, not a backup big. Uh, and we're not going to see any wins, from playing this small ball stuff. Like, it's really frustrating, and I don't know the direction that the coaching staff is going with that. But so seeing these lineups, we're seeing other problems with our players now too. Guys just not shooting well, and specifically Devin Vassell. I mean, I know he had a 5-game stretch where he scored 20 plus points. We were competitive in some of those games, and that's just something that we thought was going to be a little bit more consistent. And I know the surgery got a late start to the season, but we're in January now. He's had about 2 months, I think, to play, and he wasn't too far behind. Uh, too far behind the timeline of being able to catch a rhythm into the league. So, but it's been very, very frustrating to see his poor shooting. And in that Miami Heat game, this guy's going 1 for 10 from the 3-point line, y'all. 1 for 10. It's like, you got off 10 3-point shots. You got off 10 of them. I know 9 of those were not contested. We all know that. We saw, if you're watching the game, you saw 9 of those were not contested. Some of those were open and shots that, like, we're okay with him taking. And he misses them. And that's just been, that has been a consistent see with this team, is that missing shots, poor shooting, missing free throws. Like, let's see, Devin specifically only going to the line 1 time against the Miami Heat. So we're not, I know we're not getting calls from the ref. That's obvious, but to me, that's also saying, like, telling me, like, he's not attacking the basket enough. He's not being aggressive enough. Miami Heat eventually switched to a zone defense on us that game because of our poor shooting. We're only shooting 33% from the three. Like, yeah, let's throw a zone at the Spurs because they're not hitting anything. So, and then Devin's not. He's not being aggressive enough. He's not attacking the basket all the way. He's not drawing contact. The thing about him, he has the same moves. It's just a crossover between the legs. I'm gonna drive it to the free throw line. I'm gonna do a step back. I'm either gonna jump over the guy and take my shot, or I'm gonna pump fake and pass it out, or take a turnaround jumper. And it's like his go-to move is so obvious because he does the same thing all the time, and it's not fancy, it's not flashy, and it barely creates enough space for him. And sometimes he takes too many step backs, too many pivots that he loses. When he does that, he loses power in his legs, so then his jumper's off. I feel like we see that a lot. If Devin Vassell does too many moves, you before he even shoots it, you can kind of tell, like, okay, yeah, and he takes a step back. You're like, yeah, he doesn't really have a lot of leg in that step back and in that jumper. So look, I'm pretty sure it's going to be off, and then boom, it's a brick. He shot 8 for 22 of that night, and it's not good enough. And I'm very, very shocked because I really thought going into the season he could be our number two. Um, and I thought we would see that early on, but unfortunately, the only consistency that we have seen from him is poor shooting, and even at the free throw line, it's shocking. I mean, we're shooting under 80% from the free throw line, him alone, and he's supposed to be our shooter. He's a shooting guard, and it's a team is not going to win many ball games if their starting shooting guard is shooting less than 80% from the free throw line. That's just ridiculous. Uh, man, who else? Like it was just all over the place. Keldon Johnson had a great first half. He ended the first half with 17 points, but yet only gets 2 points in the second half to finish with 19 points total. And him 17 points in the first half, our bench player, he was the highest scoring player um, all night, which is crazy. And he was the highest scoring player by the time we were at halftime. Uh, uh, you know, at halftime, I thought, okay, yeah, this team's doing enough to win the game. Both teams scored 33 points in the first quarter, so both teams were producing on offense, and it was a competitive game. So it seemed like it was just going to be a matter of, like, okay, who's going to break first. And unfortunately, we kind of broke a little bit in that second quarter going into halftime. But in that third quarter, we were able to make a run, get it very close. And unfortunately, and just going into the fourth, we started losing our offense. Stephon Castle was aggressive all night. He started the game well, and he had a good game. 2 or 4 from the three, 4 10 from the field. Ended the night with only 10 points. We could tell that his defense, though, was helping us, and unfortunately, he fouled out that night. And yeah, again, I think at that time, that specific play, coach should have called a challenge, because we have a better chance of winning the game with Castle in the game than opposed to him being fouled out. So again, coach, use that challenge. Julian Champagnie, man, I think he fell off. Uh, he When we moved him to the bench, he started shooting better. Those numbers were quickly apparent, but then slowly, mid-January and then the end of January, Julian Champagnie just kind of disappeared for us guys, and that's just, I man, I feel like we put him in positions this season to be successful, and unfortunately, there hasn't been any consistency or any good consistency from him or his shot. So I know we had a huge win on Friday. Uh, it was a close loss on Saturday against the Heat. We're not gonna overreact and say trade the farm, get rid of everybody, but it is very apparent that we do need to make some changes from, from the coach to the roster. And I don't know if Saturday was the last time we saw this group of guys play together at the Frostbank Center, because with these De'Aaron Fox trade rumors heating up, it's very likely that it was the last time the home crowd gets to see this group of guys. And it, it's kind of exciting, these trade rumors. I know at least on Twitter, it's half and half. Fans are excited, other fans are doubtful and don't think that Spurs are going to do anything. But that's just Twitter. Uh, De'Aaron Fox, would be beneficial for this team, I personally think. And yeah, I'm I'm gonna be hopeful for this trade, and I'm gonna be excited about it until we hear otherwise by February 6th. And even if we don't do anything by February 6th, like it doesn't change anything. Like we still need to make changes in the offseason. And two, this trade deadline, we have so many fixes that we need on this team. It's not gonna happen all in by the trade deadline, and it's not gonna happen all in one offseason. It's going to take a little bit more time to fix everything, because there's just too much to be fixed to do it all in a matter of less than 6 months. Like it's just too much change, and I don't think that would happen, because you don't see teams like you don't see organizations doing that, making huge changes, coaching changes, and then adding in like 2 to 3 new players all in one season. You don't see that too often. You definitely, you never see that from the San Antonio Spurs. So the way history has panned out, the De'Aaron Fox trade may be mute, but as a fan, I'm gonna be hopeful, because, like, I don't know, I'd rather just put out the vibe that it's possibly gonna happen, and that it will happen. I'd rather just put that out. That way, the chances of it happening are a little bit higher, at least in my eyes. So it makes me feel better to do that, and that's what we'll do. But I think Darren Fox definitely would help. I think we needed to upgrade at the point guard position. Chris Paul at the beginning of the season did wonders for us. He really helped, and I thought he was gonna continue to help grow this team. But I got to be honest. I have seen some problems from Chris Paul that just are not beneficial for this team going forward. I do feel like he dribbles the ball too much. He doesn't move the ball well enough. He doesn't break down the defense enough for to draw attention from the defense and leave Victor open. The, I just really thought we were going to see a better pick and roll game and a better mid range game from Chris Paul this season than what we're seeing. Of course, due to old age, obviously he's not able to do all these things like he used to. But I still thought, like, hey, if he can at least get off the pick and get to the free throw line for a mid-range jump shot, like if he could at least be consistent in hitting that jump shot, that will definitely help the team. That'll help draw the defense to him and make the defense stay honest on him, and not just everybody switch. If he was more consistent for the mid-range game, obviously I think we would see better results um, in our win column. But he's because of the lack of offense from the other players, he's had to take on a huge, huge offensive role this year, more than what he probably thought he was going to have to. He's hit, a bunch of crunch 3-point shots for us. But again, I feel like we're asking too much of Chris Paul, and I feel that just his game is not beneficial for the team going forward. Because, yeah, like Chris Paul and Devin Vassell playing together, I don't think that that's working well. It, our starting lineup, it's not meshing, guys. I feel like we should have built chemistry already, and that's just we should have built some sort of consistency, and that hasn't happened. Whether it be, obviously our players just aren't good enough, or it's just coaching decisions and lineups that bad lineups that we're throwing out there, or it's a combination of both. Which I think it's a combination of both. It's we need to fix several things. So De'Aaron Fox, those trade rumors, that definitely helps, and that fixes one problem. That's not gonna, obviously we need to address all the backup big center. Um, because personally, I think we need to play two bigs together, and a lot of fans are saying that as well. They're saying we need to play two bigs together, especially when other teams are, and we need to find a backup big. So let's see with these De'Aaron Fox trade rumors. Who knows what happens? I after this crazy Luka Doncic trade and Anthony Davis trade, who knows how much De'Aaron Fox is going to cost now, because the Lakers only gave up one first round pick and a player. Oh my goodness. To get Luka Doncic. That's just absurd. One first round pick, no other pick. It's crazy. It's going to crash the NBA market, the player value. I, I don't know. It could work in our favor because the Aaron Fox can now, he should be a lot cheaper now. We shouldn't have to offer too many first round picks for him, and it's just wow, hearing that news this morning was crazy, and I'm okay with the Dallas Mavericks fans crashing out. It actually made last night's loss a little bit better. But for us too, it is frustrating to see like the Lakers have a potential future, because I did an episode this summer of 2024 where our future was looking better than the Lakers, because at the time that it was, they had a bunch of aging stars and they didn't have any future. But now, boom, we're going to move on from LeBron James very, very shortly, and we're going to invest our future into Luka Doncic, who is a young superstar in the league. And now these guys have a possible future, and if Jokic joins him in LA, I'm going to be so upset. The whole league will. It'll be, you know, I don't even want to imagine that. I'm not going to talk about that anymore, but that would just be so upsetting, and it just pisses you off. I feel like the Lakers need to be investigated. It's crazy that they're able to get away with this. Um, I it's crazy that the Mavs were okay with this type of deal. It's crazy. Uh, Brian Windhorst was on ESPN saying how the Mavs just they didn't think that they could win with Luka. They were having problems with him, and how they viewed him as a player, and his conditioning and his lack of focus in serious situations, during the game. It So they have their concerns, and Brian Windhorst was saying those on Sports Center today. And I feel like all those concerns that he was listing, I feel like LeBron James is gonna have those concerns as well. And I know people think LeBron and Luka are gonna just destroy the league, and that they're gonna be great fits for each other, which is possible. But also too, I mean, if you listen what Brian was saying, like uh LeBron doesn't like lazy players. So all those problems that the Mavs thought they had with Luka, like LeBron's not gonna like that. And I feel like we just wait and see a little bit, and we're gonna see that they probably don't work out as well as everybody thought that they would. Just for the simple fact of, like, I feel like their work ethic is very, very, very different. Um, and I could definitely see LeBron, getting frustrated with Luka's defense and lack of it. And I feel like he might show that on the court, but we'll see. Who knows what happens with LeBron now? Like, would LeBron go to the Spurs now for like 1 year? He's just like, whatever, I'm done with the Lakers. I just want to play with Wemby. Let's go have fun, and I'm out. That would be crazy. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm hoping that this De'Aaron Fox deal works out. I hope we get him. We definitely need changes. Uh, but we're always going to be Go Spurs Go here, and we got to send good vibes out to our guys for the rodeo road trip. Nothing but good vibes, y'all. Let's try to find some team chemistry. Hopefully, it's not too late to salvage play-in spot, because I think at this point that's what we need to root for. We're only at 21 wins. We're still one under our win total from last season, which was an embarrassment. So we still have some work to do to get beyond that. Uh, 40 wins, I don't think is happening. And it's going to be tough to even get to 30 wins or over that too. So let's see, man, but until then, we're going to send out good vibes again. Guys, come on, Spurs. Let's go. Let's find that chemistry on this rodeo road trip, okay? Thank y'all for listening to today's episode. If you liked what you heard, feel free to throw us a like on YouTube and Spotify. Be sure to keep up with GSG Nation on X at GSG Nation Talk, on Instagram and TikTok at GSG Nation, and subscribe to us on YouTube. The next game we will be in attendance for in the foreseeable future is March 4th against the Brooklyn Nets. So we will be bringing you more fan interviews from that game specifically. And hopefully we can get a watch party going throughout the city somewhere at some point in February for this rodeo road trip. And hopefully we can find some Spurs content and Spurs fan content to bring you, our special Spurs fans. So thank y'all for listening. And as always, go Spurs, go.